Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, David here, and welcome back to another video. And this one, once again, is going to be about Metaphor ReFantazio and how the game is actually very important for Atlus for a bunch of different reasons. And I'm even gonna go as far as to say it probably is the third pillar that they were looking for with Soul Hackers 2, which obviously is far from the third pillar from Atlus. Sadly, it was a flop. I liked the game. I have the collector's edition and everything. Great game, but it was not up to what they expected, I assume, because they didn't port the game to other platforms afterwards. They didn't mention sales numbers like they did for SMT5 Vengeance and Persona 3 Reload. So I think it's fair to say that the game it got a price drop very quickly as well. I wouldn't necessarily call it a flop, but I don't think it did what they wanted it to do. Now, if you guys don't know, back in 2021, before Soul Hackers 2 was even a thing, before everyone in the Megaton community like myself and other creators, even before us, talked about maybe a potential sequel to Soul Hackers, we had no idea that Devil Summoner would come back in some way, shape, or form. We had no idea, to be honest. Well, Atlus and Sega, well, Sega Sammy, they hosted an investors meeting, and there was this one infamous slide in their PowerPoint presentation to investors saying that they're looking to revive dormant IPs, and they talked about IPs that they consider secondary IPs and pillar IPs, pillar title for both Sega and Atlus. So for Sega, you had stuff like a Dragon, Yakuza, Sonic the Hedgehog, and they also added some IPs that were like Jet Set Radio and stuff that at that point we had no idea would be revived. And in those pillar IPs for Atlus, you could find obviously Persona, Shin Megami Tensei, and Soul Hackers. So that's when most people, myself included, said, hey, something else is going to happen with Soul Hackers. There's going to be a new game or something. And of course, there was a sequel to Soul Hackers, the original game from the Sega Saturn, called Soul Hackers 2, which was, in my opinion, a reboot, a Devil Summoner reboot, basically, more than a sequel, right? If, again, was not a big success. Metaphor ReFantazio, or Project ReFantazio, is a game that has been in development for over 5 years at this point. It started full-scale development in 2019, but it was revealed in 2015, so they started thinking about it in 2014/2015, so it's been in their minds at least for almost a decade at this point, and that is crazy to say. Obviously, again, full-scale development started in 2019. Now, they're putting everything into Metaphor ReFantazio, y'all. They are putting everything into it, and that's why the game is so important to Atlus, in my opinion. So, the first thing that is going to help that game to succeed is the fact that they're taking what's making some of their other pillar IPs popular, and they're putting it into Metaphor. First up, the development team. Guys like Sojima, Meguro are working on the project. Hashino, some of the most legendary Atlus developer of all time who worked on both the other pillar titles that I mentioned, SMT and Persona. Meguro worked on both. Sojima worked on both. Hashino worked on both. So it's really a very solid development team that you have here working on Metaphor, and they're putting it out there. They're always saying it in trailers. Hey, these are the folks working on the game. These folks that you saw at Anime Expo, that you saw at the Game Awards, or at Summer Games Fest, sorry. Those people are working on your favorite games, while they're also working on this next big thing, Metaphor, right? So that is one thing. It is the same thing in terms of gameplay, y'all. The calendar system is a thing in Metaphor. It looks different from what you have in Persona, but it's still a thing. And that's one thing, the daily life and everything, that's one thing that made Persona popular. Persona got popular with Persona 3. That's when the calendar system started. Same thing for social links. There is no social link in Metaphor, but there is social interactions, which that was also a thing in Soul Hackers, if you remember. Very low effort type of social interactions, but there was still a thing. In Metaphor, it seems to be the exact same thing, but expanded upon. If you reach a certain point in your relationship with a certain character, the archetype is gonna change. You get more archetypes and everything. That is so dope, and again, they know that they're gonna get hardcore Persona fans with these elements. Now, when you look at the combat itself, it is a mix of action-based combat for lower level foes, but you also have the regular press turn combat from both SMT and Persona, which probably changed a little bit. in Metaphor with regular foes, regular enemies that are higher level or the same level as you. So they're going to appeal to both SMT and Persona fans with this combat system, and they even are going to go further in and they're going to appeal to other fans. I'm thinking Trails of, because hey, Trails of fan, please don't crucify me. I think the combat is similar to something that you can find in Trails from Daybreak. I hope I didn't destroy this, please correct me if I'm wrong, but there is a recent Trails of game where you have an hybrid between action and turn-based, though they're gonna obviously aim to this audience as well, and they're also aiming at the audience that isn't a fan of these titles. If you are an RPG fan, if you play Dragon Quest like myself, if you play Like a Dragon, the recent turn-based entries, well, goddamn, this game looks great. It's not a Persona 6. It's not a Shin Megami Tensei 5 where if I don't know much about these games, I might think that I need to play other titles before I can play the modern release. It's not that. It's a fresh start from developers of popular RPGs that are critically acclaimed. So, in my opinion, Metaphor has everything behind it to succeed. It's releasing in a time frame where a lot of games are releasing, October. In terms of RPGs, I think the biggest competition probably is, but then again, it's a remake and it's very different. Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D, Dragon Age as well for the Western side of things is a thing that I don't know what Dragon Age fans are thinking about this new game, but those are that's the competition for October. So clearly, I think it's a game that can do very well for Atlus. It's releasing on most platforms, all current platforms but Nintendo. And again, you have a large audience here. You have PlayStation, you have Xbox, and you have PC as well. So you are putting this game in the hands of as many people as possible. You are, you know, checking in certain boxes here saying that, hey, I'm appealing to most RPG fans with different style of combats and everything. The visuals are also very appealing as always. It's very stylish in the menus and UIs and everything, and people like that. It's always something that comes up for all Atlus entries, that especially the Persona ones, which are well known at this point for their user interface. So it's a good thing. Now, the final element that I want to mention as to why I think Metaphor can succeed and will succeed and why it's important for Atlus, why it has a chance to be a third pillar, is the marketing. The marketing for Metaphor has been great. I've been criticizing Atlus for some of their marketing campaigns in 2020, 2021, 2022, but starting in 2023 and 2024 now with their games, they're doing a great job. I think they did a great job with Reload. Let's not talk about Tactica, but they did a great job with Reload. They did a great job with Vengeance, and with Metaphor ReFantazio right now, you guys, they're tweeting daily. They're posting on Facebook daily, showing us like little clips of Metaphor and showing us developer interviews and little clips here and there. And not to mention the showcases, which are like 30 to 40 minutes showcases. They're showcasing archetypes, the story of Metaphor. And next week, we have another showcase coming for the characters of Metaphor, which I might be able to stream, by the way. So fingers crossed for that one. That would be great. But y'all, it's looking great for Metaphor. It's in the eyes of people. People are talking about it. I'm hearing medieval Persona, and while I might not like that because I kind of wish Metaphor was more different than it is to Persona, more unique, it is still a good thing for chances of the game to succeed. So what do you guys think of Metaphor? Does it really have the chance and potential to be a huge success for Atlus? Is it really that important for Atlus, or are they just throwing it out there? Or does it have the potential to be the final third pillar that they're looking for, and we're gonna get more Metaphor style games in the future? I'm really looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say. If you enjoyed the video, a thumbs up as always, it may help. Otherwise, if you're new to the channel, you like weekly content on everything Atlus and other RPGs, well, you're at the right place. Please consider subscribing. Have a great day, y'all. Bye.